Good evening and welcome to the CroftCast. It okay. Good evening and welcome to the CroftCast. Been a great Friday. Been busy. Started earlier this morning with breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Anyway, so had to run some errands. Had to get some stuff done, and I did get some stuff done. And we in the process of getting stuff done. And I can't remember which particular store we were in, but I remember thinking at the time, this is something I need to bring up on the old cast. Since I'm filling in for John F. and Croft on the Croft cast from deep inside of the bunker at the compound. Um, I want to talk a little bit about something that I was pretty amazed by back in, I guess it was around 69, 68, 69, somewhere around there. Might have been, could have been 67. Uh, Miniskirts. And I remember thinking at the time when miniskirts hit the scene, I thought, that's amazing. Well, just when you thought that was amazing, somebody came up with yoga pants. And I cannot say enough great things about yoga pants. They far better than miniskirts ever thought about being, but I would like to point out there needs to be some rules of engagement. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this. I'm going to hear that fat shaming thing or whatever. Hey, look, I'm a big old boy. But I'm not going to go to the beach wearing a thong or a speedo or you're not going to see me out running around mowing my yard without my top on. So, having said that, let's be mindful when we go down to go, I want to look dead sexy. I'm going to get me some of them yoga pants. Hey, look, if you weigh 450 pounds, probably not a good idea. Now, I have no problem with stuffing like, I don't know, 20-pound potatoes in a 10-pound bag. But like when you go, hey, I got 250 pounds of taters here and I'm fixing to stuff them in this 5-pound bag, it's not cool. And that's all I've got to say about that. I just wanted to bring that up because it happened today at one of the stores we were in. Um, I had every intention of having a special guest on tonight. I keep promise you that I'm going to have a special guest, even though I don't know who it is going to be. I think I had found somebody, and you would think people would just be knocking my door down just to get to be on the show, but as it turns out, they're not. But anyway, I had lined up and talked to my son-in-law, married to my older daughter. I had talked him into coming by and maybe helping me out on the old cast in the absence of John F. and Croft, and he was all on board with it, but his wife wasn't. They got stuff to do. For one thing, they've got kids. Uh, well, all my kids have kids, and all combined, I think I've got around 7 grandkids. I've got 4 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. And I'm going to tell you what, I really think grandkids is the gift that you get for surviving raising kids. And it's not until you actually get grandkids then you can really appreciate love in the ultimate form. Now I know when you have kids, you go out and you find that number one, and you get married, married, and then you have kids, and then you have to go through the process of raising the kids, and then they graduate, and you go to the graduation, then they get married, and you go to the wedding, and you really, what you've been looking for a X number of years is to go, I don't know how much longer this can go on. And so finally one day they become grown-ups and they get married, and they show up with the first grandchild. And you have never experienced anything like the grandchild. I mean, it was a pretty big deal when your first kid was born. You go, oh, look at me, I'm a dad, I'm a mom. Oh, we got our firstborn now. Uh, and that's great. I mean, it's great. But it's a whole nother feeling or emotion when you get that first grandbaby. And it's not that one grandbaby is more important or more special than the other one, but what I've learned from it is that they're each and every one of them uniquely special in their own way, but yet equally loved. And that put me in the mindset of going, I thought about God for a minute. He looks at all of us as uniquely special. He doesn't love one of us more than he loves the other one. He loves us all equally. But each and every one of us are unique. We're different. We got our own talents. We got our like, you can put all 7 of my grandkids in the same room, and you can watch all 7 of them interacting with one another, and it's the differences are quite obvious. But from an entertainment standpoint of view, you're watching 7 different little shows all at the same time. And having said that, that concludes my segment on yoga pants, miniskirts, and grandkids. My son and I, well, we go back a ways. And I told you a little bit here a while back about, the havoc that he could wreak on a house. And I guess that's a boy thing. It wasn't until I had girls that I got to have a different perspective of the women folk, and how different men and women are, contrary to what they want to tell you. That there is a difference in us. We do things different. We think things different. And imagine if your whole life you never hooked up with another person. Say you were a guy or you were a girl, and you went your whole life and you just ran around with your buddies or your girlfriends, whatever. When you throw the opposite sex into the mix and you get married and you got a wife now, there's a lot of stuff you have to learn. If you didn't have any sisters as a blueprint, let's say, well, you had girl cousins, that's okay too. But I'm saying, when you grow up in a house with brothers and sisters, I think it's good for the girls learn a little bit about how guys really are. And so when they get married, they kind of go, yeah, I know. My brother used to do that too. Or vice versa. But say if you don't have that, you don't know that, the only blueprint you got to go by is what you saw your mom and dad do. Now, let's say in your household, your mom always took the garbage out. And so then when you get married, your wife says, John, would you care to take the garbage out? And you go, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. But you don't ever get to it. And she gets mad because you didn't take the garbage out, because she grew up and in her house, her dad always took it out. But in your house, your mom always took it out. So you got to work through all this stuff. And that can be pretty challenging. I'm 71 years old and I still ain't figured it out. But by watching your kids and then moving on into your grandkids, you can learn a whole lot of stuff. That don't mean you're not going to upset your wife as often as you did, but you can learn some stuff. And you don't have to read Cosmo. That's a crock of crap. Uh, and you can learn to be a parent without having to ever even read anything about that Dr. Spock guy. When I was growing up, my parents didn't have a blueprint or a book that time out. Think about time out. We didn't have it. Time out for us was a whack. And I actually believe that that my generation's parents could probably kill that ADD or whatever the heck it's called. Uh, my mom could jerk a slipper off the bottom of her foot and whack you upside the head, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm healed." Uh, wasn't a timeout. Now, as you got to look, they would occasionally go, uh, "Do you want a whipping?" What kind of a question is that to ask a kid? Now, Bobby, do you want a whipping? You think Bobby's going to go, yeah, sign me up for 2 or 3 of them. I hadn't had one in a week. Back then, when they did that, that was a warning shot across your bow. That means stop. And if you didn't stop, they didn't ask you. Do you remember a while ago, Bobby, when I asked you if you wanted a whipping? No, you got a whipping. And they also, I remember when Karen, the kids was young, and we'd go out to eat, and this is something that amazed me. Or we'd eat with other people, and they got their kids, you got your kids, and you're sitting there at the table, and you're looking at the menu, and you go, I think I'm going to have a cheeseburger or what. And people go, now, Bobby, what would you like to have? I remember the first time that I was in that moment, I thought to myself, they just asked this kid what he wanted? I didn't even know that was an option when I was a kid. I mean, you sat down at the table, food appeared, and you ate or you didn't eat. And if you didn't eat, you went hungry. But you know what? None of us ever starved to death because after a while we figured out that, I really don't like broccoli, but hey, it ain't worth dying over. And so we didn't have those options. And today we keep giving these kids these options like, well, what do you want? And they go, well, I want McDonald's, but I want the fries from Dairy Queen. And if you don't care, could you run down there to Popeyes and get me some of that special sauce they've got? Too many options, way too many options. Don't give them any options. If you're born, look, I got to have myself. I saw something the other day where it said, well, we're not really going to name the baby just yet. We're going to wait until the baby tells us what it is. And I'm thinking, what? And so if the baby identifies as one sex, well, they'll pick out a name for that. And if it identifies as another sex, you don't. Hey, look, if you're born, you got a weenie, you're a guy. If you don't have the weenie, it's a girl. Not that complicated. And if you understand that going into it, makes it a lot easier to go to the bathroom. You go, hey, I got a weenie, got to go in the guy one. If I don't have one, I got to go in the girl one. This is what happens when you start giving generation after generation too many choices. And having said that, and I didn't mean to ramble on about that. Now, in fact, that's kind of a hot topic issue, and I'm sure I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings over it, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Get over it. I don't hate you. I don't dislike you. I got an opinion, just like you got an opinion. And opinions are like, well, you know, and everybody's got one. And with that, I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Well, I just kind of let it go.
No.
I mean, I went flip switch and go, fucking go, dude. I'll try to keep up.
No,
Except that first part. I don't know what the hell went on with that.
Hey, but that first part. That's an outtake. I mean, that's the kind of shit, and that's why I said we're gonna have to edit me out of there.
Well, see, I think people need to see the shit that goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and when I hold that up, I don't care how long you talk.
No, but when I saw 16, I'm going, okay, 16's gonna work. Because what I want to be at, what I want to do is more, and it's easier. Did that one last night and I did this one, and so I know that I need 3 to 4 topics.
Yeah, I mean,
and so I went, oh fuck, miniskirts, yoga pants, grandkids, I'm out. What the fuck now? Okay, let it roll. And so if I have so 16 is actually 15 would be a good target for me.
I didn't hold up to 15 because you were in the middle of something. You were kind of wrapping it up. That's why I was like, all right, he can go ahead and wrap this. Give you just where it's 16.
And that's good too when you see that spot where I'm.
Well, you and I have had enough conversations over the years, and depending on the subject, I was like, well, he's going to talk about this for another 25 minutes, right? I mean, it ain't my first conversation. It's not the first time listening to you.
I've had a lecture before.
I had plenty of lectures. It's like, hey, I didn't get to play with sticks. You know why? Because if I played with a stick, then I got pulled inside for a lecture about like not getting to go outside, somebody losing an eye or something, like what the repercussions were going to be for that. So, well, I'm not going to say I didn't play with sticks. I didn't play with sticks when I thought you could see me. Now, there are times that I got caught busted somewhere where I was supposed to be home, I wasn't home yet, and you had to come find me in the neighborhood.
I made damn sure nobody got an eye poked out on my watch.
No, I didn't get an eye poked out, but
and I made sure I didn't poke anybody else's eye out because I didn't want to hear about it. I fucking told ya. I gotta pee.
how you feel?
Is it time?
Are you ready?
Count me down.
From like 100 or 99?
3, 2, 1. Good evening and welcome to the CroftCast. Okay. And this proves what I have said for years. Shit happens. Okay. Okay.
We'll definitely have to edit this out.
Maybe I need to be back away more from the table.
Well, the further this boom is, while this is heavy,
exactly.
it tips more. So that's why I'd rotate it. I want this coming straight towards you.
Exactly. I'm looking dead center at it.
Suck that mic.